I'd like to call this meeting of Zion City Council to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen.
Here.
Commissioner Fisher.
Here.
Commissioner McDowell.
Here.
Commissioner McKinney.
Here.
Mayor Hill.
Here. Pastor Langley.
Psalm 72 is a prayer for good government. The poet longs for stable government. He asks God to help the nation's leaders be people of integrity and to be safe and to keep their people safe, with the result that the nation will prosper. But I think in light of the tragedy in Texas just a couple of days ago, it is fitting to focus my prayer tonight on the safety of our community and to read just these few verses that the poet prays for the king, but we can pray it for our national and local leaders. May he deliver the needy who cry out, the afflicted who have no one to help. May he take pity on the weak and the needy and save the needy from death. May he rescue them from oppression and violence. Heavenly Father, we echo this prayer for our city, for our country, and ask that you would bless those especially who are charged with keeping us safe. For our armed forces, for our police department, our firefighters, and other first responders, ask that you would make them wise and vigilant, trusted and worthy of our trust, and effective in protecting our community from those who would harm innocent people. We pray also for the others in this room who partner with them in leadership in our town and who provide leadership for these departments, and ask that you would bless them in their work. And Lord, help us as citizens to also be vigilant and watch out for one another as a way of practicing in a very practical way your command that we love each other. Help us, we pray in your Son's name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4 on the agenda is consider appointment of city administrator and city clerk per Mayor Hill. I would ask the council to approve the appointment of David Nabel as the city administrator and Cheryl Spooner as the city clerk. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
That was cool. That's the first time.
We're all jumping at it.
5 years I've heard everybody a promotion at the same time. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen.
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher.
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell.
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney.
Aye.
Mayor Hill.
Aye. Item number 5 is administration of oath of office for the city clerk. City Attorney Puma will administer the oath.
I, Cheryl Spooner,
I, Cheryl Spooner,
having been appointed to the office of city clerk
having been appointed to the office of the city clerk
in the city of Zion, in the county of Lake,
in the city of Zion in the county of Lake,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Scott. Congratulations. Item 6 on the agenda is agenda changes. Do any of the commissioners have any changes to the agenda? Is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item number 7 is a special presentation, ZB New Tech Environmental Science Project, and I will turn this over to Commissioner McDowell.
Well, thank you, and Commissioner McKinney was also very much involved in it, but Joey Phillips from the ZB Tech High School, his class wanted to do some kind of a project around the city, and they chose a certain topic, and I think I'm just going to turn it over to teacher here.
All right, so at the beginning of the school year, I had my students who are here, thanks guys, identify what they believe to be the biggest environmental problem in the city of Zion, and they've prepared some remarks and solutions on that. So it's all their work, and I'm going to turn it over to them. Please, if you have questions for them, make sure you ask them. You guys are up.
Please state your name when you come up so we know who you are.
Give me 1 second.
Just remember, you're among friends.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
We're all rooting for all of you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Riley Williamson. I'm here with 17 other students who are here to represent the new tech sophomore class. We wish to shed some light on the environmental problems here in Zion, mainly about our litter and pollution problems. We hope to explain to you why this is a problem, aside from the fact that it's unaesthetically appealing, and to tell you about what our class has come up with for solutions to these problems. Your feedback would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Who's next?
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ashanti Ryan. I'll be talking to you about, I'll be giving you a brief overview of littering and how it affects our humans and the environment. So, I know you guys are probably aware, but land littering is trash and household items that are wasted improperly, and disposed onto land. So, some of the effects of littering affects our environment by damaging areas where we live, work, play, and where some of our kids. Yeah. So lots of sea animals and land animals are affected too. Some sea animals run the risk of becoming endangered due to swallowing oil and pesticides. Some land animals struggle with living around plastic and random rubbish that's just disposed improperly. Littering is a threat to humans' health because we are being exposed to harmful germs and bacteria. And yeah, I'll be handing it over to my classmate Yvette.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yvette, and I'm going to be giving a brief overview of pollution. Now, there's multiple types of pollution, a few of them just being water and soil, and one major one that ties into both of these is air pollution. A form of air pollution is acid rain, a precipitation containing harmful amounts of nitric and sulfuric oxides released when burning fossil fuels. Now, even though this can be caused by rotting vegetation and erupting volcanoes, most of acid rain is brought on by human activities, such as burning fossil fuels, by coal burning power plants, factories, automobiles. They rise into the atmosphere where they mix and react with water and oxygen. Air pollution and acid rain has been a cause of 1 in 4 deaths and can cause and has been known to cause lung cancer, chronic obstructive disease, new cases of asthma that wasn't there, and even worsening asthma that was there. But not only does it affect humans, but it ecological effects as well. When acid rain reaches the earth, it flows across the surface and enters into water systems. And not only water system, but it sinks into soils, which therefore damage forests and robbing essentials that the soil needs in order to provide for the trees and plants, and able to withstand cold weathers and insects and diseases. Thank you for listening. I'll be passing it on to Raina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Raina Van Horn, and I'm going to be doing a brief overview of the causes of pollution and littering. So, with there being about 24,000 residents in Zion, the main issue of the problem is basically us in general. So, littering and pollution is things that are introduced to the environments that wasn't here originally. So, many people litter on a daily basis, due to them bringing food or other things with them when they walk around in alleyways or to get to other places. And when they finish it, they tend to toss it around, which they don't care for. And so another thing is that cannot be stopped is the wind. Since it blows constantly, the litter is being spread across to new areas that can be affected due to it transferring to different areas. Next, introducing to you is Kaylee doing education-based solutions.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kaylee Serrano, and we strongly believe educating people on causes, impacts, and solutions about pollution and littering will improve our state as an issue of completing these followings. Setting up a camp to educate students understanding the impacts that they have on the environment with activities, cleanup and litter, and teaching. Our students would happily utilize an hour of advisory each month to pick up litter for the community. And we would like to engage a presentation to people about causes and the problems and how they can affect. The presentation would take place at a library or an elementary school, and we would give out pamphlets and rubber bracelets. Residents clean up the sewers and clogging up due to leaves and other litter. And I would like to pass it on to Emily.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Emily Garcia, and I will be discussing the Cleanup Day event solutions. These Cleanup Day solutions consist of organizing a biennial environmental day where members of the community can come together to clean up a designated area. This would include a prize for the people who collect the most trash, as well as we would be providing water and snacks before the actual cleanup, as well as the supplies, which are gloves and trash bags. A similar event that we could hold is a competition to win a prize for picking the most trash. Another event would be to throw a lights off day where we could turn off major lights such as in schools so we can be more dependable on sunlight. Another event would be to hold dates where residents can help clean out the storm drains so they're not as full with litter and leaves, since the water supply is affected by that and it affects our health. The benefits of this are reducing the litter and pollution. It makes our community more aesthetically pleasing, as well as gives an opportunity for our community to unite and ensure that we are doing our part in this big problem. Next, to talk to you about garbage can solutions is Ella and David.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ella.
I'm David.
One idea to help solve the litter in Zion is by creating fun garbage cans that children and adults will be more likely to use. one idea we had was by creating turning garbage cans into like fun ideas. So one was putting a backboard on a garbage can and putting them around parks and beaches and schools so kids could have fun while also like throwing away their trash. And another idea would be by painting old oil drums and turning them into something fun and colorful and creative that we could put around the city that people will notice and actually want to throw away their trash.
Another idea that we had was creating a type of garbage can that has two doors on it, one side for non-recyclable hazardous materials, and the other side for compost, such as like old vegetable carcasses, old paper, stuff like that. It would have a solar-powered blade in it to shred the garbage so that it can actually save space in the can and in landfills while also being easy to take care of. So we would be able to take the compost to like community gardens, be able to put the nutrients back into the soil and help out while taking the garbage to the dump and still using less space while also needing it to be picked up less, possibly making that less rounds for garbage men to come pick up.
We will now be passing it over to Kylie.
Thank you.
My name's Kylie Boyland, and we had some solutions that didn't quite fit into the other solution sections that we mentioned, but we still feel like they are as important to discuss. And one of the other solutions that we had was to incorporate a law specifically for the Zion community that bans all plastic bags from stores or public places and replacing them with reusable bags. And another solution that we came up with was to completely eliminate the landfill and replace it with a combined facility of a material recycling facility, a mechanical biological treatment facility, and a anaerobic digestion plant. And our final solution for pollution and litter is to install solar panels around Zion so we can use that as a way of electricity instead of burning fossil fuels. And to conclude our presentation, we will have Emily Brockway.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emily Brockway. So, as my peers stated, pollution and litter pose many issues to our community. However, we as a society can make a change. Through education and cleanup days, we can begin to uproot this issue that we face. We hope that you consider our ideas. Thank you for listening.
Thank you all very much. Commissioners have any comments, questions?
I think having been on the board of the Solid Waste Agency of Lake County now for a few months, they would absolutely love this presentation. They would love this. I think there's a lot of good ideas here. Some of these I think we can share and kind of pass them along. And I think it was a very good presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Fisher that it was very thoughtful. Thank you for thinking about this particular issue. I'd like to give you a question to consider maybe later on. You could discuss it in your classroom. But when we, in the city, when we notice there is litter in people's yards or an accumulation of trash in somebody's yard, we make an effort to ask them to pick it up. And if they don't pick it up, we issue them a fine. And that usually results in people that are pretty upset because we've pointed out an issue that I think needs to be cared for. So how would you handle, you've got pictures of trash on the front here. How would you approach our residents in Zion when there is trash accumulated in their yard so that they act and pick it up? What would you do? And you don't have to answer that now. But that is a problem that we have, because we recognize it as well. We send people out to notice those types of things. We have inspectors that look, and when we see an accumulation, letters are sent, and sometimes fines are sent. And you'd be surprised how upset people get when you send them a letter like that says, pick up your trash. So how can we handle that? That would really help us here on the city council, I think, if we could have conscientious people to pick up trash.
And I would echo what Commissioner McDowell says. Obviously, what we're doing in the city is not working very well if your number one priority is the trash in the city. So if you have any ideas on how we can get people to follow the advice that you've given us tonight, that would be very helpful. So thank you very much, and you guys did a great job. And you're all very good speakers, and we appreciate you coming tonight. So thank you very much. Item 8 on the agenda is citizens' comments, and I don't know how many people we have for citizens' comments tonight, but I just want to remind everybody that there's a limit of 3 minutes, and they'll be keeping time over on the right over here, and when the buzzer goes off, please wrap up your comments in a sentence or two. First on the agenda is W.C. Bremner.
Thank you, sir. I am W.C. Bremner of Zion, Mayor Hill, honorable sirs, gentle lady. First, congratulations on your new job. Second, I stand before you this evening to recall to your attention, as I have for many years in the past, that on the 10th of November in 1775, a Continental Congress authorized Captain Samuel Nicholas to raise 2 battalions of seagoing soldiers to be known as Continental Marines. Ever since that date, every United States Marine everywhere has claimed the 10th of November as his or her birthday. This Friday, the 10th, will be the 242nd birthday of the Corps. I respectfully ask that the City of Zion send to the Commandant of the Corps in Washington, D.C. their best wishes for the 242nd birthday, continued health and blessings upon the Corps. I do thank you for your time, your courtesy, and your attention to this matter. Permission to stand down, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Next is Clyde McLemore.
Good evening. I'm Clyde McLemore. I'm a resident of Zion. I'm also the founder of the Lake County chapter of Black Lives Matter. On November the 5th, 2017, Black Lives Matter had their annual banquet here in Zion. We had every surrounding city mayor, police chiefs, everybody. Sorry none of y'all attended. We have mothers here who have been abused by the system about having their children killed from all over the country, came to this city of Zion on Sunday. I was flabbergasted because we could move that banquet to any city in the, I could took the Hyatt Regency downtown and packed it. But I want to keep it in my community. I want to keep it where I care about. I want to bring more tax dollars here. I want to bring more business here. So I had people come here to Zion. Upon leaving the event, there was 22 parking tickets issued to the visitors that came here to Zion. from all over the country. We even had people here from Missouri and everything. And it was very disturbing because we had such a great event, and to come outside, and some of my guests that was here said they saw the policemen outside putting on tickets and said, hey, we got police chiefs inside and stuff. I got mayors inside. And the officer said, we don't care if his car out here, he go get a ticket. So now, right at that spot in front of the hotel at the Market Square, there is no 2-hour sign. But I did drive down Sheridan, there's a 2-hour sign. I remember when the 2 hours came in, that was because they was doing construction over at the hospital and everything. And thank you, Chief. Chief called me the next morning. I guess he had got calls. I didn't even call the chief. I just told everybody, give me their ticket, we'll pay for it. But y'all was gonna get hell out of Black Lives Matter if that was the case. But Chief told me all tickets was voided. We think, and I hope not, and I pray not, that this was ticket because the event was Black Lives Matter. I know some of y'all saw the Facebook posters. People don't believe. I was on Facebook telling them, hey, he apologized, the tickets are voided. I'm asking y'all, we gotta do something. We got a bridge built somewhere here in Zion. I don't know what it takes. I've been out here diligently for years. Each one of y'all know me. I've been out here. I care about this community. I live here. I'm raising my children here. But the racism is so strong. I understand these children are talking about pollution, but let's talk about the racism up in here. This is really, I ain't anti-police, but I'm anti-bad police. I'm not anti-schools, but I'm anti-bad education. I am anti-bad resources. I am anti-bad education, no employment. I know my time is up. I'm not going to be disrespectful. I'm going to respect you. But I just need to say that. And thank you again, Chief.
I guess I can address one of your concerns, Mr. McLemore. The issue with tickets, there has been, we have had problems on Sheridan Road with parking, and it has, wait, let me finish. And it has caused problems for some businessmen. At a month ago, at this city council meeting, it was brought up by Commissioner McDowell for perhaps a solution, and we decided that we weren't going to address it that night. I made the commitment that I would sit down with people involved and come up with a solution for parking. I apologize because I did not do that. That has not taken place yet, but we are in the process of evaluating. In the past, we've always looked at this, that from Sheridan Road, everybody needs to be treated the same. And we're coming to the conclusion that each block does not have to be treated the same. So we'll be addressing the parking issues block by block on Sheridan Road. And I can assure you, to the best of my knowledge, and I think I understand what's happened, is that I've been on the police department's case for a year and a half. I question why we're not giving parkers for overnight parking, as you've pointed out. I have been on the police department's case about downtown parking continually. Now, it's my understanding that there was a new officer on that night, and that officer was given instructions when he came on board that the mayor wants parking enforced. And apparently he, or I'm not going to speak to what was in that officer's mind, but it's come from me. This was not an officer acting on their own. So I take full responsibility for parking enforcement on Sheridan Road, whether it has been done fairly and consistently. It has not in the past, and like I said, I apologize for that, but we'll be addressing that in the future. as far as the parking issue.
Okay, I understand that, and I accept your apology, Mayor. It's just so, it hurts me that it happened.
I understand that.
Black Lives Matter.
I understand that. I understand that. And I've had a discussion with Mr. Rogers today. We had a discussion for probably 45 minutes about many of these issues. And I am sensitive to what happened. But the person was out there was doing what they were told that they were supposed to do coming from this office. So,
Can I add something on there?
please do.
Just to clarify something, it was actually a fairly young, very new community service officer, wasn't a police officer. We've been on their case to hit the downtown parking on a regular basis. He had no knowledge that there was an event at the hotel, other than the fact that he saw a large amount of cars. And that falls back on myself and the administration. That was not passed on to him, that there was a large event at the hotel. We didn't receive formal notice, so I think that might have been why it slipped the minds of some of the individuals to pass it along. But that was an oversight. It definitely was not targeted at that event.
Next on, I cannot read the signature on the list here.
Is it mine?
No. Is there, it looks like I can't read it. Who signed up to speak?
It's a doctor.
Neither one of you two. Is there a Charles Van Horn?
Oh, no, I didn't know if we were supposed to just sign on.
Oh, no. Okay, maybe that's what the other person did too, just signed in. Al Rogers?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I too, like Mr. McLemore, is completely disturbed. While you and I had a 45, 50-minute conversation this morning, and Chief and I had maybe the same yesterday, the reputation that I had to fight between Sunday night and tonight about the city of Zion and their lack of respect for the African American community has been relentless. I'm not here to beat anyone up tonight, but you have to understand the frustration when we had city officials from every community around and yet no one from here. And it's in our house. And then to come out and find whatever the amount of tickets were written. For those people to come back into that banquet hall with parking tickets, and I have to stand there and defend the integrity of this city, was just irresponsible. You can say it was a new officer. You can say you didn't know. You can give me whatever excuse you want to give me, and I'll accept it. But there was 250 people there that didn't hear what you guys said to me. There's not enough Facebook posts that I can post that hurt the amount of people. Remove the tickets. I could give less than care about a ticket. The fact that we didn't have a single representative from this city is inexcusable. I don't care if you like Clyde McLemore. I could give less than a damn. Clyde does not and is not Black Lives Matter. You guys sit here and complain timelessly about the lack of communication with the African American community. You want to pick and choose what organization you're going. You don't get that option. You don't get to pick, well, I'm going to go to the NAACP or I'm going to go. You represent all of us. And this was an event that was held in your house. And for you not to have a representative there is irresponsible.
Well, Mr. Rogers, I am going to respond, and I'm going to say basically the same thing that I said to you this afternoon. I have sat at this city council meeting and been disrespected. We've been told untrue things on numerous occasions from Mr. McLemore, and Mr. McLemore is the only voice of Black Lives Matter that I've heard or I've seen here, and I do not respect that voice. I will say that. He knows it. You know it. I do not respect that voice. So when I get an invitation or I'm notified that he would like me to come somewhere, and that's my face of Black Lives Matter that I see every day, and the only thing that I see, I'm not going. I know better now, Al. We talked about this today. I know better now. But in my opinion, he was the only face of Black Lives Matter, and I'm not going anywhere where he is. He has said things about our police officers that I think are untrue, that they're inflammatory. He has said things to me. He's called me the most racist person he's ever met in his life. He's put that on Facebook, and I will not go where he goes. That's why I wasn't there, and I can't speak for the other members of the council. I'm guessing they feel the same way. I stand corrected now, and if I am invited, I'll make a pledge that I will be there next year. But that's the only face of Black Lives Matter that I've ever seen.
That's
And
the chairman. I'm just a founder. That's the chairman.
I've explained why I wasn't there, and it's my guess that there are a number of other people that sit on this dais that feel exactly the same way. Next is Mr. Ratliff.
So just to clear the air here, because it's all over Mr. McLemore's Facebook, a business owner, per your police department, a business owner in the 2600 block of Sheridan Road has made the complaint to get Black Lives Matter fined. I want to clear that up, and I will have someone from this council agree with that. I absolutely did not call the police department and say Black Lives Matter should be ticketed. And I was just confronted in the hallway before we walked in here stating just that. I own a business downtown. This council and this police department's failure to enforce the 2-hour parking has cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I have that proof that I can show each and every one of you. Hundreds of thousands of dollars compared to my competition has been taken out of my pocket due to a banquet hall that was put across the street that promised valet parking. There is not enough parking downtown for a banquet hall. That was said at this council. They denied it. They then reapplied and said they would valet park. You then approved that to happen. The ordinance was written incorrectly, and that I also have proof of. This police department and this council have ignored the fact that it's hurting my business after countless emails. I finally sent off a final email begging for help 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago, the police chief himself and the mayor himself got involved and said, I want enforcement and I want enforcement now. Now today, there's Facebook posts all over the internet saying David Ratliff of the Hive is the cause of Black Lives Matter getting tickets. I want this for the record. I want it with Al Rogers and Clyde McLemore here. I want it out of both of you. I did not do such a thing. I've been fighting for my business and the hundreds of thousands of dollars this council has cost me. Thank you.
For you? I can address that, Mayor. He's incorrect. I did see the post he's referring to. It just indicates a business owner. It should say business owners.
You're deflecting, Steve. That's deflecting on the police.
You had your moment.
Sure.
The post that he's referring to indicates a business owner. It should say business owners. I did not post that. One of my staff members relayed that to a member of the Black Lives organization that received the ticket. That post indicates that we received complaints from business owners in the 2600 block of Sheridan Road. It's not just Dave's business. We've received complaints from a lot of those businesses. The majority of that came during the construction of the hospital's parking garage and the new towers over there, where we had a lot of parking issues, limited parking spaces, being taken up by employees of CTCA. I think that's one of the main reasons that we enacted the 2-hour parking, to address that. Obviously, you know, we do our best to do that. We have very limited staff. Majority of the parking enforcement on Sheridan Road is done by our community service officers. It's done by our officers in their downtime. I don't need to tell anybody, that's very infrequent in this community, that those officers have downtime to enforce the parking there. So we do elicit the services of the community service officers to do that. And again, we have limited CSOs and we have limited hours that they work.
I will go on the record that I did see his post, that it did say that Mr. Ratliff was the person, was the business owner who has been complaining about parking.
Whose post? That didn't come from the police department.
No, I didn't say it came from the police department. And he didn't say it came from the police department. He said it's all over Facebook. I didn't say it did come from you. But I will speak for the record and say that you had nothing to do with any conversations that I've had lately, and specifically with Sunday night. Mr. Ratliff did not call me and say he wanted it enforced on Sunday night or anything like that. That was my doing to try and solve the problem along Sheridan Road, and I will make a commitment that we'll get together and come up with a solution to the parking problem downtown as much as we can.
And I can reiterate that we did not receive a single phone call that directed the CSO there. That was just part of his nightly duties to be out there and doing that enforcement.
So it had nothing to do with Mr. Ratliff. Item number 9 is the consent agenda. Would the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Approval of minutes of a regular meeting held on October 17th, 2017 at 7:01 PM. Bills, vouchers 127,691 through 127,825, drawn on First Merit Bank, total $1,659,852.05. And the proclamation, World Polio Day, October 24th, 2017.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
And a motion?
Second.
Second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item number 10 is consider passing resolutions as follows. 10A is Community Development Block Grant CDBG funds for assistance for sidewalk replacement and installation of handicap ramps, per Director Colangelo.
Thank you, Your Honor. In your packet is a resolution that the city is required to pass to apply for community development block grant funding. Staff is seeking grant assistance for sidewalk replacement, installation of handicap ramps at various locations throughout the city, and staff is requested to recommend approval of the resolution.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 10B is Community Development Block Grant CDBG funds for assistance to correct code violations and improve facades and streetscapes, per Director Nabel.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. You have before you an application to the Lake County Community Development Office for funding. We just recently received a grant for $95,000 to address business and facade issues. It's a 50-50 match where the owner puts 50% of the improvement in, and then the county matches that with 50%, and the city just administers that grant. This is a similar application for commercial properties along Sheridan Road, Lewis Avenue, and Route 173 for facade exterior improvements, addressing code violations and ADA accessibility and signage. And we're just recommending and requesting approval to apply for the grant.
Is there a motion? A motion?
Second.
And a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Before we get to item 11, I want to take a minute. You're more than welcome to stay, but those students that made the presentation, if you want an opportunity to sneak out, and so you're not here for another hour, you might want to take that opportunity right now, and then I'll get on to item 11.
There goes the roommate.
Thank you. Item number 11 is consider passing ordinances as follows. 11A is authorizing the gifting of surplus property per Mayor Hill. As you know, Diane Burkemper served the city for 27 years as an employee and just recently retired. And the city did not do anything for her as far as a gift or anything on the way out. And she has been involved in Kingdom Kingdom and put hours and hours into that. And there are 2 life-size toy soldiers downstairs in the basement, and I would like to declare that as surplus property and gift them to Diane Burkemper as her gift from the city on her retirement. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 11B is authorizing the execution of a national field trial agreement between Axon Enterprises, Inc. and the City of Zion for police body cameras and data storage per Chief Dumia.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. I respectfully request the City Council approve the Zion Police Department enter into an agreement with Exxon for a 1-year free trial of Exxon body cameras and data storage. This agreement will include 1 body camera for each sworn officer in the Patrol Division and each detective. In addition to the department, will also receive docking stations for each camera to recharge and upload data from the cameras, along with deployment support from Exxon Incorporated. The length of the trial will be 365 days from the date we take delivery of the cameras. There is no cost for this trial period, including storage. If the department elects not to extend the body-worn camera program beyond the first year, we simply return the products. If we elect to keep the body cameras and maintain this program, we are obligated to the full price of a 5-year contract that will include the products, software, storage, and support. The first year paid of this program, expenses are projected to be $56,357. The second through the 5th year paid of this program, expenses are projected to be $35,295 per year. Exxon is a leader in the field of body-worn cameras, and after much analysis on this topic, Exxon is the vendor we have chosen for this project. Attached is the National Field Trial Agreement with Exxon. I respectfully request the city approve that agreement.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve this field trial of the Axon body cameras equipment.
I have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 12 is discussion, authorization, and approval. 12A is consider request from Clear Capital LLC for vacation of a portion of the alley right-of-way located at 2539 Galilee Avenue per Director Ianson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Clear Capital LLC is requesting to vacate a portion of the city alley right-of-way located at 2539 Galilee Avenue. The square footage of the right-of-way request is 282.6 square feet. In the petition for a variance request, it was determined a portion of building was on the city right-of-way. The current assessed value of the property is $4.55 per square foot, for a total of $1,285.83. Also will be recording legal fees of $580 for a total owed $1,865.83. The zoning variance request is contingent upon the approval of the vacation request.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
A motion
Second.
and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please.
What was this property built in 1952, is that what I read?
Yes, that's correct.
Was the alleyway constructed at that time and the building placed in the alleyway, or?
Oh, the right-of-way.
The right-of-way, sorry.
Yeah. I honestly don't have an answer to that question.
We have is there a discussion, further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. 12B is considered zoning docket 17Z8, requesting a variance from the Zion Municipal Code Section 102-106B2 to continue a multifamily use in an R5 single-family zoning district for the property located at 2539 Galilee Avenue as petitioned by Clear Capital LLC per Director Ianson. Planning and Zoning Commission did not have a recommendation for the request.
Thank you, Your Honor. Docket 17Z8, Clear Capital LLC is seeking a variance from Section 102-206B2 of the Zion Municipal Code to continue a multifamily use in an R-family, single-family zoning district for the property located at 2539 Galilee Avenue. This duplex was permanent and built in 1952. The surrounding zoning districts are R2 multifamily, R8 single-family, and R13 single-family. At the October 5th, 2017 Planning and Zoning meeting, they had no recommendation for this variance request with a vote of 3-2.
Is there a motion?
So move to grant the variance.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion?
Just a clarification. When the Planning and Zoning Commission met and there was a 3-2, why is a no recommendation submitted to the council?
Because it was not unanimous.
It requires 4 votes.
So we had a few members absent.
That's correct.
And the reason Rich and I met with Clear Capital, one of the principals of Clear Capital is here this evening. The building has been sitting there for 10 years, and it's been vacant, and it's an eyesore. And without the variance, they would not invest the money into rebuilding the property. And if you go along that corridor, the 25th, 26th Street corridor, and look at some of the houses there, our alternative was to either let it sit there and continue to be an eyesore to the city, or to go along with, as we're looking forward to the comprehensive plan of having them fix that property there. They've been in the community for 10 to 15 years. They've been terrific landlords. We haven't had any violations, code violations to deal with, or nuisance violations at their property. So obviously they have the proper ingredients to find the right tenants, so to speak, that respect the properties and they take care of the property. So that's, as Rich and I sat down and talked about it, and as we talked about individually, it's just the right thing to do for the face of the city.
Would you invest in this property if it were single family?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for your time. It was actually purpose-built as a duplex, and it's side by side. So unlike some of the properties where it was built as a single and converted to a duplex and should be converted back, this one was built as a side-by-side duplex. So there's not really a logical way to turn it back, or turn it into, it wasn't even back into, to turn it into a single family. So I guess the short answer is no, because we couldn't really understand or foresee a way to make that make sense. But
I asked that question, that we've been fairly consistent over the past few years trying to reduce the amount of multifamily in the community and try and get as many single family as possible. But I guess our alternatives are, it either sits vacant, it becomes a duplex, goes back being a viable duplex, or we tear it down.
Yeah, as we discussed, to make it into a single-family home would be cost prohibitive for the.
I'd like to know, I asked this question prior to the council meeting, but the other properties that you own in Zion, have you returned those back into single-family? And can you tell me how many? And is that your intent with other properties that you own here?
Sure. Thank you for asking. So we have. So when we've bought properties that were intended to be single families, an example would be 2809 Elam. We purchased the property and it was set up as a duplex, but it was originally a single family. And so we converted it back to a single family. And when we were able to, we ended up selling it to an owner occupier. And we've done that with other homes in the city as well, where we've found owner occupants to buy homes that were intended to be single-family homes. And really, as we look at our investments in the city, the ones we want to hold as rentals for the long term are the ones that are multifamily or mixed-use properties. So an example would be a property that we own and have redone on Sheridan Road, 2445 Sheridan. It's a property that you may be familiar with because it's very close to where we are now. And it's 2 apartments upstairs and it's 2 businesses downstairs. And so when we purchased that property, we put a lot of time and effort and money into revitalizing it and making it an attractive part of the community. And that involved exterior paint and things like railings, but it also involved landscaping. We hired a landscape designer to put in really attractive landscaping and to clean up the yard and to install new trees and bushes and make it a really attractive part of the downtown community. And when we did that, it was great because we were able to attract businesses.
The building you're talking about, I believe, is between Iupi's and the gun store?
Yes, it
It's
is.
set back,
Uh-huh.
it's got the parking in the front, and it's okay.
And so that's just an example that's nearby of a building that, it's obviously it was built as a mixed-use property, but when we came in, we hope we converted it and made it better than the way we found it, hopefully by a lot. And that's what we'd like to do here as well, is hopefully take it from something that's a blight on the community to something that is contributing again, and something that's going to be an attractive part of the community. And so our plan would be to make sure that we do like what we did at 2445 Sheridan, is to put a new roof on it, to make sure the exterior looks great, and to make it attractive, not just acceptable, but attractive and a good part of the community again.
This isn't really part of this particular decision, but there is a property next to it that looks abandoned to me. I don't know if it's foreclosed on. I don't know the status of that property. Does that weigh into your decision to purchase this property, the condition of the home that's right next to it?
I'm glad you asked me. The way we try to approach things is essentially one thing at a time. And so as we've been able to identify properties where we can add some value and make it better, then we'll do that one at a time. And it would be our hope if that opportunity presented itself, that we might look at the home next door, look at another home in the area, or some way to continue to do this. And that's what we've done over time. As we've had the ability to do it, we've tried to identify properties that could use some help and make them better. And especially on singles, we've ended up selling them after we've completed them. So we'd love to. I guess it's not limited just to the one next door, but as a broader statement, as we find needs in the community, we feel like one at a time, as we make things better, it contributes to the success of the community as a whole. And that's good for the members of the community, and it's also good as an investor, right? Because as you improve a community, everything, it raises all ships.
Thanks.
Is there further discussion? I'd just like to say that we're trying to do these one at a time also, but I would certainly like to see you do about 5 at a time.
Thank you.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 12C is request permission to advertise for bids to sell 8 city-owned residential vacant lots per Director Ianson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Currently, we have 8 city-owned residential vacant lots. Staff is requesting permission from the City Council to advertise for bid to sell the properties. Staff is recommending we set a minimum bid price of $1,500 on the 40-foot lots and $2,500 on the 50-foot plus lots.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Is there discussion?
Mayor, this has been on, we've had this discussion several times about the vacant properties and trying to get them back onto the tax roll. And some of these properties are viable to buy. And I've talked with Sonalita Bronson about this as much as I have with Rich Ianson about these properties. That if they're bought, that the owners on both sides of the properties will have an opportunity to bid on them. I might be thinking about something else, I'm sorry there. But these properties are some nice properties. I've driven around the city with the inspectors and with Rich on several occasions and thought that some of these houses would be a great place for new houses to be built. And I think that's one of the things as we continue to look to clean up our city, we're going to have to somehow attract new houses, even if they're smaller. To fit the residents that live here and the income level and whatnot. But these lots are very nice lots.
I don't know if this is for Director Ianson or Commissioner McKinney or for our legal counsel, is there a way that we can put a deed restriction when we sell these lots and maybe even sell them for less money, but put a deed restriction on them saying that they have to remain owner occupied for a period of 15 or 20 years? I would hate to sell a lot to somebody, have them turn around, put a home on it and then rent it out, and we have another rental unit in the community. And I guess I'll ask her, is that possible?
I'd have to look at that. I know that there's been some issues with some other restrictions relative to FHA financing, that they wouldn't finance if there was a restriction. I don't know if that particularly would cover it, so we would have to look into that.
Okay, and I don't mean that the person who buys them, who buys the lot and builds the house has to live there for 15 or 20 years. They could sell it, but they have to sell it to somebody. That deed restriction would go along with the...
There's other programs that require owner occupancy for a certain period of time, so I'm thinking that it wouldn't, but we would have to check before I can give you an answer. I don't know the answer off the top of my head. Okay. So if you'd like us to look at that, I think we can get back to you before you advertise for the bids, and so that we include something.
We would need that to be included in the bids.
I think we'd want to be upfront on that.
I know that there are some deed restrictions, like in the city of Chicago, if a person's to buy a condo or home there, that it can't be rented out. You have to live in it for at least 2 years. And sometimes at least 2 years. I don't know if the law will allow more than that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about with community properties, that's pretty common because a lot of times they don't want tenants moving into the certain buildings. I'm thinking you can, because there's another state program that we've dealt with where it had to be owner occupied for a certain period of time, and that didn't violate anything, and they were at an income level where it would have been FHA or HUD financing. So let me look at that, and we should have an answer.
Do any of the commissioners have a problem with that?
I don't have a problem with it, except for that these are vacant lots. So
Right.
Are we restricting the buildings that can be constructed on these lots?
Well, most of them are in residential areas, if I'm correct, Rich.
They're all residential.
Yeah.
So they'd be controlled by residential zoning.
I mean, isn't that the step that we would look at making restrictions, is the...
No, the residential zoning doesn't have anything to do with whether it's owner occupied or a rental unit. You can have a single family home in any neighborhood in the city. Like I could rent my house out tomorrow. So if somebody built a house on that lot and they wanted to turn around and rent it out, then we're not gaining on our lowering the amount of rental units in our community. So I would put it out, and maybe as far as I'm concerned, we can start the bidding a lot lower than this if somebody's willing to accept it with a deed restriction. I would say, we'll sell one lot for $500 or another lot for $750 if they'll put a deed restriction on it, or something like that to encourage them to do it. But that's what I'm looking for. And again, I'm almost to the point where I'd rather have a vacant lot than, and I know there's impact on the tax rolls, but I'd almost rather have a vacant lot than another rental unit.
Well, in addition to that, it also, when you
That's
talk
just me.
about, when you talk about the vacant lot, it's also an expense to the city.
Right.
In terms of the maintenance from the building and zoning department to maintain those lots.
Right.
So I understand where you're coming from. But, if we can move those lots, get them back on the tax roll and have the proper home built there, we'll have to look into the legal aspect, which is not my area of expertise.
Right, but I mean, does anybody have an objection to putting a deed restriction on it?
No. And I'd feel comfortable doing it tonight if you wanted.
Okay, no, I don't want to do it tonight. We'll wait till we get legal, and I think we would just put it on when we sell them. You know, that they would have to, we would put it out in the bid documents, that it has to be, that there would be a deed restriction placed on it.
So that means this will be tabled until,
No, I think we can sell them. We can prepare everything, and then, this isn't going to take you very long, is it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we can have an answer probably by the end of the week.
Yeah, so you can go forward with going to bid,
advertise for bids.
and I can coordinate, with whoever you want, and the director who's placing the bids, however you guys want to do it.
Yeah.
We can,
so there's still going to be
We're-
minimum bids for these properties.
Yeah, we'll leave the minimum bids where they are, I guess, right now.
oh, that's a good point, yeah. Because you said you wanted to go lower if you could do it, so.
What would you like, maybe half?
Yeah.
Half? They put a deed restriction on it?
Go down to
The minimum bid would be
750.
$750 and $1,250 if they're willing to put a deed restriction on it? Okay, seems to be a consensus.
Yeah.
Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 12D is the tabulation of bids, demolition of buildings per Director Ianson.
Thank you, Your Honor. The city of Windsor recently received a CDBG grant for $119,000 for the demolition program. The city had a bid opening on October 23rd, listed below are the results. Continental Construction Co., Inc., $76,000. Seaforce Construction, $78,000. Green Demolition Contractors, $85,000. Mark Mead Excavators, Inc., $98,405. DK Contractors, $109,850. Campanella and Sons, Inc., $111,222. Deutsche Contractors, $124,810.40. Nissen Excavating, Inc., $135,500. Lake County Grading, Inc., $137,300. Staff is recommending the second lowest bidder, Seaforce Construction, for $78,000. They are a local contractor and have done demolitions for the city in the past. They are familiar with all the procedures and policies.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there discussion?
Sure. I'd just like to say that there's been a concerted effort between departments to make this happen, to get this grant. City Administrator Nabel, Rich Ianson, Bob Serrano really kind of taking the lead along with Sonalito Bronson in economic development to get this grant so that we can tear down some of these houses that have been sitting vacant for so many years that have caused some issues with our residents. Again, going into cleaning up the city. But one of the things that has come out of this has been a 2-year process. So again, for people that have talked to us about this, as we've said that we've been working on these issues, things work slowly, but we've been patient. And City Administrator Nabel, Rich Ianson, Sonalito have been really diligent in their efforts to make sure this happens. And they are working really hard now to make sure that we are able to get these grants each and every year so that we can continue to demolish properties in the area once we get the clearance to do so. So this has been just, again, my kudos to everyone that's worked so closely with this and done all the tough work for us.
I guess I have to ask our legal counsel, I know that there are some circumstances where we can reject the low bid because somebody may not be qualified, but can we do what we're what this wants us to do here.
I would have a concern unless the lowest bidder is not responsive or responsible and didn't meet the qualifications to go to a higher bidder, it could subject you to a lawsuit for not accepting the lowest bid. The local preference, I entirely appreciate. There is a case that's pretty much right on where the municipality said we're accepting the low bidder or the second lowest bidder because of a local preference, and the court said you can't do that and granted an injunction. It's a difficult position when they're so tight, but you could face a complaint from the lowest, which was the Continental Construction.
And I appreciate the where you're coming from on this, Director Ianson. I think it's being a local taxpayer. I understand the need to try and direct business to our local businesses. However, the reason we put bids out is to get a low bid, and if we don't follow a low bid, why bother bidding, I guess, if you're a bidder. So, but we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
Sure. Where is this company, excuse me, I'm sorry. Where is the C-Force Construction Company located, Rich?
They're here in Zion.
Pardon me?
They're here in Zion, Commissioner.
When we have a motion and a second to approve the awarding of the contract to the second lowest bidder, C-Force Construction, the low bid was, C-Force is at $78,000, low bid is at $76,000. And we have a motion and a second to award it to the
Mayor, your
second
questioning makes me think, is there any other reason apart from a local business that we're considering this bid?
I was going with local, and they have worked with the city in the past on demolitions.
I know we've done this in the past. It's not.
We've done it with cleaning with the city, and I believe the HVAC at the police station in particular, but there were extenuating, the people that had the cleaning contract were horrible. Oh, jeez. And the
Say what you feel.
Yeah. And the people that there was another issue of competency on with the HVAC in the police department also.
So what's our, Scott, what's our exposure with this, since you brought this up?
If the result is really an injunction to accept the lower bidder, that they would have to litigate and file an injunction to stop you from going forward with the contract to the C-Force, and to ask a court to stop that because they were the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. And what would happen is that they would ask a court to award to the lowest, that they were lowest, and to declare that.
So is this an issue that we need to table as a result, or?
If all things being equal, my legal recommendation to the city council is to accept the lowest responsible and responsive bidder, which appears to be Continental Construction.
And so how do we go about?
So we have a motion to accept the bid of C-Force Construction. If you don't want to accept C-Force Construction, if you want to accept them, we would vote aye. If you don't want to accept them, you would vote no, and then we would reconsider another motion. So I'll call the question. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen.
Let me just, before we get going, if you want to reject, if you want to go with the local one, you vote yes.
Yes.
If you want to follow our legal advice, you vote no.
Bacon goes on, bacon lives, what the mayor said.
You waiting for the vote? Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
So, either accept the second lowest bid or reject it and reconsider the motion.
No.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
No.
Mayor Hill?
No. Is there another motion?
I make a motion that we accept the lowest bid from Continental Construction Company.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
You have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Do that we were shot down, I vote yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. (11E) is consider approval of purchase of K-9 vehicle insert, electronic vehicle door opener, heat alarm, and peripheral equipment to outfit the new police K-9 vehicle per Chief Dumian.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. I respectfully request the City Council approve the purchase of a K-9 insert, electronic vehicle door opener, heat alarm, and related equipment to outfit the new police K-9 vehicle. The equipment will be purchased through the two of our preferred vendors who can supply this specific K-9 equipment, Ray Allen and Ray O'Haron. A breakdown of the equipment purchase is included on page 2 of this written request. The sum total of the K-9 vehicle insert and all related equipment is $3,869.96. The general fund will not be used for this purchase, as in the past. This K-9 expense will come from the drug asset forfeiture fund. Thank you.
I'll make a motion, we approve this request.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there discussion?
Can you tell me about this equipment, Chief?
It's, our K-9 vehicle was put down due to extreme unsafety issues and maintenance issues and high mileage. It was taken out of service, so we're purchasing a new vehicle, a Ford utility Interceptor all-wheel drive vehicle. The inserts and equipment from the old vehicle will not retrofit the new vehicle, so we have to buy new equipment. So basically, it's the cage, lack of better terms, that houses the dog in the K-9 vehicle. It's an electronic door opener, which the handler can activate on his body or in the car to open the rear door of the car and let the dog out. And a heat alarm, which monitors the temperature in the car. So on hot days, if he's got the air running and that fails, he'll receive an alarm that the car's getting too hot inside for the safety of the dog.
That's what I was curious about, if that was, because there's been so many heat-related deaths with kids and pets. And
Yep.
being a big pet lover myself.
The additional equipment is pretty extensive. I won't get into all that, but some of that is for the safety of the K-9 as well. It's very specific to that particular cage that goes in the car. Expand on the heat alarm. It does page the officer. He would receive a page if the vehicle gets too warm or the dog's inside it. And he's obviously outside of the car.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 12F, consider approval of purchase of office furniture to furnish drug and gang unit office space per Chief Dumian.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. With the recent decommission of our police dispatch center, we are relocating our drug and gang unit into this larger office space that was once used by the dispatch center. As such, I respectfully request the City Council approve the purchase of new office furniture to facilitate this move. This office furniture will be purchased through our preferred vendor, Office Plus in Waukegan, Illinois, in the amount of $5,993. This is also not a budgeted item, and the money from the Drug Asset Forfeiture Fund will be used to purchase this office furniture.
I'll make a motion, we approve this request.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 12G is consider becoming a collaborative partner in the Lake County Brownfield Coalition for Director Nabel.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. You have before you a letter that I'm going to be requesting that council gives approval on. Lake County is seeking a grant for identification and inventorying of brownfield sites throughout the county, and they are looking for partners for this grant, and we are asking council to sign a letter asking them to include us in their grant so that we can identify brownfield sites within Zion boundaries that would then allow us to apply for grants or other resources to remediate.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we will participate with the Lake County Brownfield Coalition in seeking this grant.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 12H is request permission to re-advertise for bids for the city facility cleaning maintenance service per Clerk Burkhamper. Do you want to do Clerk Burkhamper or do I?
I don't really know much about it.
Okay. During the city facility cleaning maintenance bid opening on October 31st, 2017, it was discovered that the incorrect bid specifications were provided to the companies on the city's bidders list and those who requested a copy of the specifications. The current cleaning maintenance contract does not expire until December 6, 2017, so ample time exists to rebid the service and provide the correct specification. I respectfully request that the City Council reject all bids and grant permission to re-advertise for bids for the city facility cleaning maintenance service.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion?
Second.
And a second. Discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 12I is consider appointment to the Planning and Zoning Board per Mayor Hill. And with a great deal of pleasure, I would ask the City Council to approve the appointment of Kathy Champagne to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Kathy is in the audience today. She is a very frequent visitor to City Council meetings and is very aware of what's going on in the community. She's articulate and intelligent and will be a wonderful zoning board member. And I ask that you approve her appointment.
I'm going to jump on this right away. I approve this appointment.
Making a motion?
I am making that motion.
Okay. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 12J is a discussion of the enterprise zone application for Mayor Hill. About a year ago, we applied for enterprise zone status, and last week we received notification that we did not, we're not designated an enterprise zone. We have an opportunity to apply again, but it has to, again, it would be a rush application. The applications are due December 31st for the 2019 awards. After discussing this with staff members, we decided that rather than, because there was a significant amount of money, and we do have a lot of information that we will keep and we will use, but the recommendation is that we just accept the non-designation and that we take the time and we'll come back with a proposal for reapplying for 2020. So that's what that is. And I also wanted to, this is a little, this is I'm going to do my mayoral commentary here before we get into departmental commentary. But there's one of the things that irritates me no end is what I call, can I say forever? I can't.
That's what I believe.
Frivolous litigation. And the city was sued by a group, TBS Group LLC. They're a landlord that owns property throughout the city, and they objected to our rental inspection program. Now, if you can, this is their case, this is the case that they brought, but this has been going on for 2 years about, year and a half? 16 CV,
So about a year and a half.
a year and a half, this case has been going on, and they objected to our inspecting rental units because they said that the city was discriminating against African Americans and Hispanics because it's mostly African American and Hispanics who live in substandard housing in our community, and we were discriminating against African Americans and Hispanics by requiring inspections so that we could bring them up to codes in livable conditions. And I just want to let everybody know that it was dismissed without prejudice or with prejudice?
With prejudice.
With prejudice, which means it's done, it's over. They do have a right to one more appeal, but the judge has thrown it out. And if you read the decision, and I would, if anybody wants to read it, the judge was very adamant saying the city's doing the right thing. They're not discriminating against anybody. And I'm so happy to get this, and we have one more case pending, and hopefully we'll have the same type of result. So, item number 13 is departmental commentary. Does anybody have anything? Nothing? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I do have one comment I'd like to make. And I had hoped that Mr. Rogers would still be here. But with respect to your response about the Black Lives Matter event and the fact that none of us attended, and this is a lesson I learned from Commissioner Fonini some time ago, because I put a complaint out on Facebook that, hey, none of the city leaders were at, a Black History event. And as he rightly pointed out, he was unable to attend because he was working. And I can only speak for myself, but Mr. McLemore and all that aside, I was not able to attend because of a personal reason. So I understand Mr. Rogers' frustration, but I hope he will understand that it's not meant with malice on everyone's part that nobody from this council appeared at the Black Lives Matter event. So I hope he will take that into consideration. That's all I got to say about that.
Anything else?
I'd like to say something. I'd like to thank you for moving our city in a new direction. We have a new city clerk and a new city administrator. David Nabel moved from Director of Finance into the position of City Administrator. Since he has come here, he has absolutely turned things around for us in the Finance Department. And I think that your move, yes.
And we have a new HR director too.
Pardon me?
We have our first HR director also.
Oh, okay, you're right, thank you.
Karen.
I apologize. And I'm so thankful that we're moving in that good direction. And Cheryl will do a wonderful job in the new position that she has. I'd like to congratulate them both and thank you for moving the city in a new direction.
I agree. Thank you, David, and congratulations, David, and congratulations, Cheryl, and Karen. Congratulations to you too.
I apologize.
You've been here for a month now, though, so you're one of our old hands already. Well, not old. You're one of our been here a while hands. 14, item number 14 is announcements. November 21st, 6:30 p.m. Zion Township Board meeting. At 7 p.m. Zion City Council meeting. November 23rd and 24th, city offices are closed for Thanksgiving. Item number 15 is we have a need for a closed session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2, open meetings for discussion of personnel and collective bargaining. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye.